Hi, I'm Amanda, and I'm a quantum healer and past life regressionist. In this video, we're going to talk about a hot topic that comes up a lot in spirituality and the spiritual community. We're going to talk about spiritual bypassing. I'm just hoping to kind of clear the air about this topic because I see this term being thrown around a lot, and it's kind of used almost as an insult or a way of invalidating someone's spiritual journey sometimes, but I also see that sometimes it is a valid phrase to be used. So let's talk about it. Let's break it down. So first, I'm going to start with Google AI's definition of spiritual bypassing because I looked it up and it's actually pretty good. So here it is. Spiritual bypassing is a defense mechanism that involves using spirituality or spiritual practices to avoid facing difficult, painful, or unpleasant things. This can include unresolved emotional issues, psychological wounds, and unfinished developmental tasks. It can also prevent people from acknowledging their feelings and can distance them from themselves and others. Okay, so let's talk about this a little bit, because this definition is talking about how spiritual bypassing is a way of not acknowledging the wounds, the traumas that are stored within us when we feel triggered, when we feel challenged, when our nervous system gets dysregulated. And when that happens and it's coming from a deeper emotional place, there are times when we might use spirituality to sort of will those problems away or to try to not acknowledge what's really going on. And that, in my opinion, is what spiritual bypassing is. It's when we don't acknowledge how hard something really is, where it's really coming from, and the root cause of the true issue. And we instead try to just immediately rise to a higher place, look at things from a higher perspective, and ignore the work that really needs to be done to clear that energy that's causing the thing that's happening. So when you're feeling triggered by something or when you're feeling challenged by a certain situation, it's important to ask yourself, do you know where your reaction is coming from and why you're feeling triggered? You have to really dig beneath the surface for this one. You know, the causes are usually from childhood, they're usually from traumatic relationships, and sometimes even past lives. Ask yourself if it's something that you've addressed. Is it something that you've set the intention to release or to understand or to forgive? And if your answer is yes to all of the above, if you feel like you know where your triggers are coming from and why you're feeling or reacting the way that you are, then it's completely okay to take a higher perspective in those times of challenge. So let's talk about what spiritual bypassing is not. Because again, I hear this term being thrown around quite a lot, and people kind of use it as a way of, almost shaming spirituality, shaming people for taking spiritual perspectives on things. So I hear, sometimes when we say everything happens for a reason or everything is meant to be, like this is happening, because there's some sort of higher lesson, people will label that kind of thinking as spiritual bypassing. And I completely disagree. There's nothing inherently wrong with looking for a greater spiritual reason for things to happen. That's actually just a really healthy, positive way to find perspective on really tough life situations. Spiritual bypassing is also not using mindfulness, meditation, breath work, or nervous system regulation techniques to help you overcome really challenging situations. These are all just healthy ways of moving through life's greatest challenges. Spiritual bypassing is really just when you're ignoring the difficulty of a situation, when you're ignoring the source of the challenge in that situation, ignoring the wounds that need to be healed, the traumas, the triggers, the childhood experiences, all those things. When you pretend that none of that matters, or you try to just skip over those parts, skip over doing the work of releasing and forgiving, that's when you're really bypassing. I hope that helps clear things up, and I would love to hear if you have any thoughts or opinions on what spiritual bypassing is or isn't down in the comments below. And thanks for watching. I'm Amanda, and I am a quantum healer and past life regressionist, and I do in-person sessions as well as virtual sessions. So if you're interested in working with me, check out my website at amandaaiko.com.